Good morning. I'd like to. I was just wondering, reflecting on how I could encourage someone that's new on this path, this journey to self-discovery. I'm guessing that most of my talks were really aimed at people well on the path. But what if somebody stumbles across this and they don't know where to start? Well, let's talk about that a little bit. First is the inkling, the desire, the feeling that starts somewhere. Maybe it's a curiosity. Maybe you just want more out of life. Maybe you want to feel closer to understanding what life is about. There's a lot of reasons. Maybe you've had a tragedy and you don't know how to deal with it. Maybe you're just your wit's end. Yeah. But meditation is the key. Meditation is the beginning point, and it's accessible to anyone. I don't promote or practice any kind of esoteric or specific sitting techniques other than trying to remember to keep my shoulders straight. But what's been key for me, after many years of practicing rigorous Zen, Rinzai Zen training, where there's so much effort to keeping the back straight and sitting in the full lotus or the half lotus, and being told that meditation is a battle. It's about fighting samurai after all, about controlling, about it was almost militant in many regards. The tradition being that Roshi would hit you with his stick, hit you with his staff, if you even shrugged your shoulders or moved or readjusted yourself. But I think that's off-putting for people new. I can never do that. And actually you can, but it takes really dedication and training. If you're the type that you study martial arts and that you're very disciplined, by all means, follow the rigorous training of formal Zen sitting. What I found after years of this, basically when I hit a dead end with successfully conquering the mind, quieting the mind 100%, getting rid of all the jabber that's going inside, mind talk, conquering that, suspending that, and finding the quiet and the stillness. Just couldn't do it. Maybe you're a better man than I. But fortunately, for those of us that find this rigorous path, thinking of nothing. But the funny thing to me was that nothing is everything, isn't it? After all. Anyway, Zen with a smile, dedicated to a more relaxed, just as than the rigorous training, a more relaxed, but no less desire or focus on accomplishing awakening. But sit down, relax, try to keep your shoulders straight, because I know that it makes a difference. But being the person that has quite a hunch, not a good posture, it's possible to do it even if you can't be perfectly straight. But get comfortable, get relaxed. If you're comfortable sitting on the floor, go for it. There's all kind of cushions and mats and things that you can find. After all, you don't need to spend a lot on a meditation practice. You just need a place, a consistent place if you could, a room if you're so lucky, like I'm in my room right now, my meditation room. But some kind of cushion, and you look online, Zen cushions probably. You can Google everything today, isn't that wonderful? Yeah, so maybe you need a mat. You might need a mat to sit on the floor. So, a mat, some cushioning, if you need it to be more comfortable. There's cushions that will help you to sit and keep your back straight, if that's important to you. If form, kata, and they say in martial arts, form, if form is important to you, indeed, get a cushion. I have some incense because it helps with the whole mood. If you meditate at nighttime, candles are nice, the flickering. If you decide to practice the focusing on a point, a candlelight is a pretty good place to start. But create an ambience, an environment, a place where you feel safe, a place that you're free from interruption, which means putting the cell phone, either turning off the ringer or putting it somewhere else. But once you've created the environment, the next and most important thing is consistency. Meditation needs to be practiced consistently. And that's why I'm not overly concerned with the time. I mean the time spent in meditation. The time of day is interesting. It seems to me that dawn and dusk. Dawn represents the beginning of the day, so it's from low energy to high energy. Dusk is the time when the hard energy of the day is relaxing into night. Two key places. I find noon significant. I don't know, I like my meditations at noon. But I'm basically a morning person, so before noon. But consistency. Get on a schedule. And length of meditation is really of no big importance. 30 seconds, 1 minute. Wow, push it to 2. Come on, 3, Get to the point where 5 minutes is doable. And especially without the pressure of how you're sitting, the mechanics, what's happening in your mind. Learn to just watch. Just listen. But learn to dismiss. This is what I call taming the mind. Recognizing that the mind is entertainment purposes only, most times. There's a discipline when you can start using your mind. And you can actually use your mind on your search. But let's not worry about that at this point. So quiet, incense. Some people say you should meditate in complete silence and try to focus, and I think, for me, the opposite was true. When I let go of trying, just stayed unfocused with the candle. And very important to me, music. I don't play music during my episodes, during my chapters in my Zen with a Smile for my YouTube posts because of copyright infringement, you know. And then my first experience setting up the first tape I did, I inadvertently didn't even realize I had some music on the background. And I had copyright problems right from the very beginning. And then going and trying to learn how to edit and edit out this music. Not only was I not able to edit out the music, I managed to chop my video into pieces and splice it back together so it repeated. It was totally a mess. And then the fact that I hadn't even gotten a microphone, that I was using the internal microphone from my Mac, and maybe my distance was too much. My voice was not loud enough. Oh, that first one. I kept it up because it was the first one and I wanted to hold on to it. But again, let it go. I redid it. And in the course of this, I've had to redo 2 or 3. For different reasons. Sound was off. Mostly problems with sound. Mic wasn't really working. I didn't do a good check. A pre-shooting check, which I do now. But we're back to meditation. Consistency. Not length of time. Not even effort. Meditation, as it becomes more and more part of your life, becomes many things. It becomes easier. In that keeping the schedule, it becomes part of you. And meditation is not always la la land, easy peasy. There be times as you on your journey where some pretty significant issues, even bordering on turmoil, can interrupt your otherwise pleasant experience. It's not about pleasant. I'm just stressing that in the beginning, don't worry too much. Golfing. I watched beginners at golf and I gave up quickly, you know. What I really learned is that you need a teacher who can look at your swing, look at your liabilities, look at your shortcomings, and help you to become the best golfer that you can with the tools that you have, the talents, the abilities that I don't really believe that everybody has a beautiful, flawless swing. Same holds true with a good meditation teacher. Don't hold you up to the lens of perfection. Maybe you'll want to go that way if that's your own inclination. But his or her job should be to help you with the functions and not the form as much. Maybe a few gentle reminders. But in my meditation, I listen to music and I tell you, there's so much. I really appreciate how much there is meditation music, how much there is out there. So here we got the environment, candle, if you like it. Some people prefer a bright sunshiny day. Let the sun and whatever it is, and with the incense, shop around until you have one that you really like, and that as soon as you smell it, you're already beginning your meditation session. I start by lighting the incense and then do the things that I need to do to begin sitting. Personally, for the last couple of years, I've been sitting in chairs because aging makes the floor less comfortable. I can do the floor, but I have to be up against something like a wall. You know, I have to prop myself up. And I never have had much luck with the cushion, the proper cushion. Some seem to be too tall. They push you forward. Some I just never found. And when I was younger, it didn't matter much. I just had a little meditation rug with no padding, just to cover the floor. And to protect. The mat became sacred. I kept it in a safe place, and it became, sitting on it was part of the process, the meditation, lighting the incense, rolling out the mat. But as I've gotten older, last couple of two years, surrendered to some realities. And for me now, that floor is really a far away. And if I can get down, getting up becomes problematic. So, create your environment, create the mood, meditate. I think the freer you are of expectations, especially in the beginning, I don't have any different. My mind is not quiet. Well, when you're quiet, you're able to notice the noise in your mind a lot better. So it seems louder, but it's always there. And when we're out and about, it kind of gets drowned out in the background. So a meditation practice. The next efforts should center around, I suggest, humbly suggest, should center around letting go. You know, we humans, we hang on to everything. We hang on to relationships. We want to hang on to our money. Grasp. We want to hang on to our worldview. We want to promote and secure our ego. Clinging. And what do we experience in life? We experience that the only constant, the only thing that you can be sure of is change. I know the popular thing was death and taxes, but change is the constant that you can be sure of. We don't have to pay taxes. we can face the consequences. Of course, no one has yet, that I know of, figured out a way to escape death. But change. Death is out of our hands. But change, the acceptance of change, because the denial of change gets you nowhere. Nothing stops. But our clinging, we cling to the past, memories, people, events. The future, we experience a high anxiety, most of us, because we're worried about the future, which doesn't really accomplish much, does it? The future will come. But even the now, living in the now, as they always say, because really past and future don't exist. All we have is this moment. But even in the now, we're holding on to things. As I've mentioned to you before, it's been judgment on my part. Still working. Every day I go on a bike ride, in a bike path, beautiful bike path in Walgan, separate from the roads. And every day, several someones, choose to ride their motorcycles and scooters on the bike lane. With some show some regard to the bike riders, but others just drive, it makes a safe situation dangerous because they drive recklessly, they drive too fast. But here in Taiwan, motorcycles are ubiquitous. They're everywhere. The sidewalk is not for people, in my experience. The sidewalk is either for driving your motorcycle so you can, I don't know what, and motorcycle parking. The idea that dedicating that area to pedestrians, to walkers. Now it's really funny in Taipei, they experimented with putting bike lanes on the street. Well, everybody ignored it. Parking is rare. Everybody parked on the bike paths. So then they moved the bike paths onto the sidewalk. Brilliant. Then because they just kind of gave up that, we can't keep these people from parking. So we take part of the pedestrian area around, dedicated bike lanes. But of course the bike lanes ignore that, whizzing by. So it's made, you have to be mindful, I think. It's good for your mindful practice if that's something you're practicing when you're walking in Taipei, because you have to be aware of a bicycle. So another example of bicycles on the pedestrian walkway. And scooters, too. Scooters are everywhere. But taking away the safe environment at the cost to the pedestrian, they accommodate the bike riders. Well, the bike path here is at the cost of the safety and the soundness for the bike riders. They pretty much ignore. I think most people are aware that they're not supposed to do that, but there's no penalty. It didn't cost them money, so there's incentive to not do it is very small. In the now. So this is my experience. I'm judging as I ride my bike. First I'm annoyed. Wow, why could I ask this unanswerable question? Why couldn't the bike paths be for bikes? So I had to start really working on this. Huge work, because I was judging the people that whizzed by me. Unfairly, because in their defense, scooters have been, and motorcycles is pretty much anything goes. It's anarchy. And to expect something else might be different. But I've noticed that there's other people that drive their scooter on the bike path. The fishermen. And it's convenient for them, it's close to their fishing holes. And they've been around a lot longer than the growing interest in recreational biking. So you have fishermen. And then there's wonderful, beautiful souls who use their motorcycle to carry food to feed the stray dogs. So to work on this, I started thinking, okay, every motorcycle is either feeding the dogs or at least going fishing. And fishing is a peaceful activity, especially when you don't catch any fish. But that's not the point, is it? Well, maybe it is. Relax and be by yourself and quiet and get away from the pressures. I appreciate that. So fishermen or feeding the dogs? Of course that's not the case. Not even half the case. The rest of the people are using the bike path because it's convenient to ride their scooter. It's convenient for where they want to go. So this is my personal struggle, even with letting go in the now. I've managed to successfully live in the now, but still there's work to do. Let go of the judgment. Let go of the expectations. Let go of the conditional. Should have, could have, would have. Let go of that tense completely. Let it go. I remember when I was learning Spanish in the university, I had already known that should have, could have, would have. We called it conditional tense in English grammar. Were meaningless. I should have done this, I could have done this, would have done, if I only would have done this. All this is kind of useless speculation. And I remember telling my very, very young Spanish teacher, my age or younger at the time at university, because she was a native speaker, when we came to the conditional tense, I said, I'm not learning this. I'm telling you now, I'm not learning this because I spent most of my life trying to eliminate it from English. Why do I need to learn another language? And she just was completely taken aback because, first of all, she'd never thought of that maybe the conditional tense was pretty much a useless activity. She just thought, here's my student who I'm grading, who's telling me he's not going to learn that. And I didn't. And when it came on the test, I just refused to answer. Didn't even try. Well, marked down. But I hope that I could do better in other areas that would kind of make up for my deficiency in refusing to accept the conditional tense. But it was good work, and I might suggest that along with letting go, that you might stop using the conditional tense. Stop being a victim. Stop blaming others. Accept responsibility. And as to everything else, learn to let it go. Just let go, relax. Because 95% of what happens to us is really not within our control. And once you let it go, this becomes part of the only thing that we can do is work on our own acceptance of things that we cannot change. to realize that it's our attitude about how we face these things that we can control. And through letting go, and letting go of expectations for others' behavior. Be in a relationship and recognize that you have it at this moment and enjoy. Love. And let the expectation of continuation go. If you have it, if it continues, it continues. If it doesn't, it doesn't. This is where equanimity comes in. To be able to accept the bad and the good with the same level of spirit and being. These are things that you can work on. These are things that are within your control. That's why I called this chapter The Art of Letting Go, because it is an art. Take a deep breath. Go for a walk. How about a swim? Walk in a quiet forest. Even if you live in a city, if you get up early enough and pretend like the buildings are trees, you can walk in the forest anywhere. Maybe there's a neighborhood pool that you can go swimming in, but nothing beats the ocean, does it? So, remember, my advice to all of you is let it go.